So, welcome to everyone who is joining us live tonight. Um, for those who are, if you're on Zoom or if you're watching us live on Facebook, please be reminded that you can ask any questions. You are welcome to make comments, and I'll be following up the questions and passing them on to Iurii, who has gladly accepted the invitation to be our guest for today's Coffee with Alumni webinar. So let's start. We are sharp on time. And Iurii, first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to do another thing after a busy day's work and for agreeing to reconnect with LCC in such a way. It's truly a pleasure to host you tonight. And for our audience, let me introduce Iurii Shchegolskyi. So Iurii is an LCC graduate of 2015 and has majored in business administration. And Iurii was one of those students that everyone knew on campus. Like, we would see him everywhere. He was active and visible. And that's why I think it's very nice to reconnect with you and to learn what you've been doing, because I'm sure, like many people, will be excited to get an update on your life, but also for our current students and even future students who are watching to hear your story and learn from your experiences. So welcome, Iurii, and maybe let's begin with you giving an overview of in a short overview of what your path has been after graduation. So 2015, you graduated. What have you done since then? And what is your current role?
Thank you, Aiste. First of all, it's really nice to be here and really nice to reconnect. I think I couldn't fully leave LCC even after I graduated. I've been around for a while. So yeah, I'm always happy to do that. Probably it's a little bit late for the coffee, but yeah, generally, thank you. Yeah, so I've graduated, well, in 2015-ish, technically, but my career path probably started even a little bit earlier, since I've been doing some things during my studies, including work and travel, and also some side jobs during studies. I mean, that's not the career, but that's the experience. I think that this is very important for your future career path, whatever you choose. So one of the things that I was doing, which was connected to my current career, I was working in sales for Soprana as well. Back then, it was a part-time job, but it was quite helpful also in the future decisions in terms of what I want to do. But then after the graduation, I started working for Vlantana transport company as an account manager, like in the beginning as an assistant, and then ended up with key account manager role. I've been there for almost 3 years. It's almost unbelievable, to be honest, because it's been 2.5 years since I left already. And then at some point, I decided that I don't really want to connect my life with logistics the rest of my life. So I moved to a totally different industry, which is mobile marketing, advertising. And now, well, I think I chose correctly. So I'm pretty happy. It's a more data-driven industry. It's a more open industry, quite new as well. So a lot of people also learn there. But I'm also an account manager right now, working with some big gaming publishers. Yeah, helping them to acquire users.
Okay, well, that's a quick overview, and then during our webinar, we'll try to dive into some details and have you reflect on your pathway. But you have chosen the theme for today's webinar in saying that the theme reading, Finding Your Path After Graduation. So how have you been following or discovering that path for yourself? What were the important milestones for you, and what would your advice be to current senior students or even to freshman students? Because with the LCC's liberal arts education, sometimes the critique is that people, graduates, can do so many different things, and it's hard to find exactly what to do. Is like, well, what is actually my, my role? So it's for everyone. For everyone goes through the process of finding their career path. So what are your thoughts? What are your insights and recommendations for others from your own experience?
Yeah, so basically experience, most of all, any kind of experience that you can get also during your college years, right? Because after you graduate, you gotta find something, and it's better to be prepared beforehand. So those who uh, have some work experience prior to graduation, uh, that is extremely beneficial for them. No matter like if you have the need to work to earn money or just do it for yourself, it's extremely helpful. Um, from my experience, from my examples, I was doing tutoring, for example, for several years. I was tutoring kids. That is extremely helpful now, like working as an account manager to explain things to people, for instance. Some things need to be explained in a simple words, in a quite like simple manner. And this experience helped me to learn how to do that. So any kind of experience, probably not even connected to your future career, will be beneficial, but also get to know yourself. It may be hobbies, it may be also some different trials and fails in terms of work. Try to understand what you like. In the end, I think even though I've been working as a like sales account manager for quite a while, now I'm being aligned more towards data analysis analytics, which I really like, I think, the most. One of the things that I really enjoy doing and that I can do well. So in the end, some things get adjusted on the way, I think, both by your knowledge and skills, by your experience, sometimes by chance. This cannot be avoided. For example, moving to transport, I never planned to work in transport, but well, Lithuania is majorly about transport. So this was a great experience. I cannot complain for sure. I mean, I learned a lot. I made a lot of good connections, even friends, working there, and yeah, gained a lot of knowledge, which is helpful still till now. So yeah.
But yeah, you did say that you worked in transportation for 2.5 years, right? Or maybe no,
Almost 3, yeah, yeah.
yes. And then you switched the industry quite like in a very different direction. So I think that is that is a brave step to take, right? I mean, how do you leave one field where you've already built the expertise and then choose something differently, something different entirely? So how did you make that decision, and why was it such a drastic switch?
So basically, there are two things. First of all, yes, as I mentioned, I didn't want to connect the rest of my life to transport, and two, I was acknowledging that while I was moving from key account manager in one field to junior account manager, so basically a couple steps back in another field, because account management in transport and in mobile advertising are two completely different things, to be honest. So I had to learn most of the stuff from scratch. But here it's more about thinking about the future and the opportunities, both in the field. I think it's more that there is much more opportunities in the field of mobile and tech, ed tech, basically, than in transport at the moment. And as well as the like what I want to do, right? I was ready to kind of do couple steps back, and this did benefit me. I mean, I am now like the moving towards the expert in account management field in this industry, and yeah, now I'm getting benefits from this decision for sure.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's good to risk, good to make those couple steps back, transfer yourself a couple years back in order to benefit in the future and make sure you're building the career that you will enjoy building.
Mhm. I know that when there are presentations made for future LCC students, um, often our faculty members, even the president of the university, Marlene Wall, would always define LCC that the liberal arts or the liberal arts education in general, that this type of education doesn't prepare the person for the first job, but more for the fifth or sixth job. So it's kind of, going up the career path and getting the skills, and then figuring out exactly what a person wants to do and growing in that field. So it kind of seems to be true in your case. So that's where I would want to ask you to reflect on your LCC experience and LCC education, and how would you say the LCC education and the skills that you got prepared you for your professional life, for your career right now? What has LCC equipped you with? I guess that would be the question.
Also many things. To be honest, well, first of all, you can only benefit from LCC by what you are ready to accept, and from any other institution or experience. I think what is unique about LCC is also the fact that it's quite international and intercultural. So you learn how from other experiences as well. This is very important. You cannot live in your nutshell, right? So communicating with other students, with professors, is beneficial for future life experiences, that's for sure. But also, yeah, the experience of also being a student leader at some point gave me a lot of insights, also like in terms of even some dealing with psychological things in my life, and managing people as well at some point. But yeah, sorry, I was it's so many things. I may be a little bit confused. Education itself is also very important here. Why? Because besides having the strict classes of, for example, economics, which I saw Eric is attending, one of the best classes. But generally, also there are some things that teach you basically life, right? And the communication with other people, even things that may seem irrelevant for business major, like literature, or we had rhetorics. I know that it may be called differently right now. Academic writing, it does help, because being a business major and then working for account management, well, sometimes I need to write nice reports, nice also papers, and so on and so on, case studies. So those things, they benefit you in the end. And as they say, right, you do not carry knowledge as your burden, but it's there for you to use it, or just keep it in your head forever. You never know how it will help at some point. So here, yes, I totally agree. LCC is a great place in terms of learning how to then live further. Of course, they can, like LCC cannot prepare you fully and say, okay, now like you're ready like a robot, right? But it gives you a lot of things that it's up to you to accept them or not. How to proceed with your life, kind of thing, how to adapt to things in the future. I think being able to adapt, because market is moving. Some things, Bitcoin 10 years ago was what, less than $1, right? Now those who bought it back then are millionaires. So things are moving, changing every day. We have COVID situation, different kind of industries are on the rise, some are on the fall. I think LCC is doing a good job in preparing you to cope with such things and to adapt.
It's great to hear you reflect on on the scope of education and the required classes. So I hope actually that some of our students are listening, because sometimes when they come in the first year, they would be saying, it's like, why do I have, like, I'm a business major, right? Why do I have to take this public speaking, the rhetorics class that you refer to, or intro to literature? But it's this is where the reflection of alums actually comes in so handy, because after you are through with your education and you are in the actual job setting, that's when you can reflect the best way on the value of all the classes that one had to take at LCC. So thank you for that. But I still would want to ask you about the value of LCC diploma and education in general, because I mean, you were a student from Ukraine in the early years that came to LCC. Right now, every year we have a big group of Ukrainian students coming, but back in the early days, I think you were one of the first students from Zaporizhia, actually, area coming
Yeah,
to
me and
LCC.
Alex Rubel. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You guys were the first ones. So, and I'm sure that coming back then, and coming to a different country, there should have been, of course, questions of the value of LCC diploma after graduation. Like what worth will it have? What jobs you will be able to get. And so you've studied, you've traveled, you worked in Lithuania, now you're working for a German company. What would you say about the value of education that you've received in terms of the accreditation and the recognition? Maybe how would you say, what has been your experience and how you were perceived, how you are perceived on the job? Because I think that is always the question for international students choosing or considering LCC.
Okay, that's an interesting question because probably the value of the diploma itself is the last thing I personally consider. For me, the most important thing is the experience and the knowledge I get. But in terms of the document itself, let's put it this way: I think in Lithuania, it is highly recognized. So people that know that you graduated from LCC, especially in Klaipėda, for instance, it already means something. But if we talk about Germany, for instance, right, LCC is quite a small university, so not that many people know about such institution in general. What's also good about the diploma, though, is that this is the European education, right? So it's getting accepted one way or another in Europe, and it gives you also a path for me as being Ukrainian, who back then couldn't travel without visa to Europe, and it's not that easy to find job if you're looking for it from Ukraine. It did give me a boost, I would say, to stay in Lithuania and then to move to Germany. So yeah, in terms of in Lithuania, it is being recognized, that's for sure. But in Germany, it's a good boost still, like as a European education.
So you never had any regrets?
No, no, definitely. If I would be told like you can try again, I would go to LCC still. Also, yeah, mainly because of the experiences I got.
And as you truly say, like it's not about the piece of paper. It is about the experience and education. And I think you very wisely put it. It's also what you've done, that how it always depends upon the person in terms of how much they can get out of education. And that is especially true about LCC, because it's not just about going to classes, but it's also about having discussions after the class, in different settings. And this is where again, Iurii, like I still use you as an example in many cases, because sometimes, when LCC is being considered by someone as a private university, everybody looks at private universities as special places for maybe either privileged people or those who do have the money and so forth. And that is, we know that that's not what LCC is about, but it's always the student stories, the alumni stories that kind of help us prove the point. And I've used you as an example in many cases when I was working still in the admissions office, and sharing your story with many families, because truly you were one of those few students who made LCC possibly entirely on your own. You Yes, you did have a lot of support from LCC and from outside. It's not that your family had the resources. I know you were supporting your mom even during your studies on your own. So to me, like, talk about the determination, and where did you get the power, and how did you make it work? Because I mean, truly, I mean, you were, as you were saying at the beginning, you were doing multiple jobs at certain points. I mean, I know, and you were saying, like, you were tutoring, you always did work and travel. But what would be your advice to younger generations who who just think that they don't have the money and that's why they cannot do certain things. What would be your advice? And to me, like when I look at you, it's your example, not only how you made it possible, how you made LCC education possible for yourself, but it's even how you have been building your career, that you are not afraid to take those risks with changing fields and growing, and as you said, even taking a few steps back, but because you see the long-term solution. So um, what were your motivators? What would you be able to share or advise to others who sometimes think that such things are impossible, yet you are the proof that anything is possible?
Thank you. uh, that was unexpected, but generally that may sound cheesy, but they say don't give up, right? But I think the moment you lose is the moment you basically give up. Because even when it seems hopeless, and it's not just about me. I've met so many people that been to so desperate situations, and they made it out just by not giving up, just by moving forward. There is a goal, right? I mean, for me, there was a goal not to stay in Ukraine and to move somewhere else and be able to build my life and career also. With more options and perspectives and so on. So the goal, if you have the goal, so just go towards it. It doesn't mean you have to, use some bad ways of doing it, right? But there is always a solution. If you don't see it, probably talk to someone else. There were so many people that did support me, I think, as well morally a lot, and that did help. I'm really grateful financially as well at some points. I mean, LCC as well. I barely got to the university itself, right? I was not accepted at the first place. But I got to probation. I proved that I'm able to study. And yeah, I think it's about not giving up mainly and looking for solutions. There is always a way, definitely. Sometimes it's hard, of course. Just don't be afraid of hard stuff.
Exactly. I mean, as you say, at some point, everyone goes through different hardships, and it's the key of not giving up and also taking the extra help that is being offered by others. So when you reflect back at your years at LCC, what are your best memories? What are the things that you treasure the most?
I think friends that I still in contact with till now. The last time we've met personally was, I think, a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, in Vilnius. Some of them are like my year later than me. Some of them were actually freshmen when I was my last year. Even so, I got a lot of friends that we are in contact from all over the world. Same Alex Rubel, he lives in Mexico. Some guys live in Germany as well. In Tallinn, I've just been to my friend's wedding there this summer, done. So, I mean, the connections I got, this is the most probably valuable thing, but also the experiences. I think dorm life is actually means really a lot at LCC. Because it's not just about the education, it's about the student experience kind of thing. And I've noticed when I was studying that most of those who live in dorm, they are afraid to graduate because, well, it's a nice kind of isolation from the outer world where you talk to other people, make friends and so on. Those who live in the apartment, they're like, I just want to finish study and go further. So this dorm experience is extremely important. We had the conversation till 4 a.m. At the Ant's kitchen, discussing some really like philosophical things. Yeah, so value the dorm life.
Right. I mean, that's always the saying that at LCC feels like a greenhouse, and then after
Yeah.
graduation, then it's going into the real world. But obviously, everybody survives the real world, and including you, and you've done well for yourself. So, Yuri, if considering that these webinars are also being watched by future students, by people who are considering LCC for themselves or for their kids. So I always pose the question of why LCC. So what would be your advice, your summary of, well, why should people consider LCC, and what makes LCC unique for, for their choice, if that becomes the right place for them?
Yeah, because LCC prepares you not just for your future possible job, but for life, I'd say. So it gives you a good head start in terms of understanding how the world functions, not only just some specific field of studies. So this is why LCC.
Okay. So what about you? Your ambitions? What's next for you? Any plans? Any dreams?
So basically, I always get confused by the question, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, not starving at least, but generally, I first of all, I like the field where I'm at, so I would stay there. I like the job currently, and I still keep growing. I'm still progressing there. So now I'm going towards more expertise level, which is more kind of data analysis involved, working with number besides working with partners and people. And this is what I want to learn probably at some point, more towards like BI, business analytics as well. So yeah, that's the plan. Also don't want to leave Germany for now, at least. Really love the place. Hamburg is beautiful. If anyone from who's watching will have a chance to come there, just do it. It's an amazing place.
Wonderful. Okay, good. We'll know for anyone who goes to Hamburg. Make sure you check out
Yeah,
if
you can
Iurii is
ping me.
there, and that's the LCC reunion time.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I my final question would be, and this is where I also want to remind that if anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to put them in Facebook comments or in Zoom chat boxes. Like I'll be following up. So LCC is celebrating its 30th anniversary year this academic year. So as we are in this celebration stage. Um, of course, for us, it's also important to know what LCC alums think about the LCC's future, and what their dreams and visions are, and what would be your wishes for LCC on this occasion.
Well, I still remember the 20th. I think on the 20th they opened ends, right? So I think, well, I heard that there may be some shortage of places in dorms. So probably build another dorm and keep expanding. I would say, well, good luck further. I think the world keeps changing, and the LCC community keeps growing. There are more and more people getting to LCC, so just probably expand that campus. I hope to see in 10 years a couple more dorms and probably one more educational space, and be able to say that, well, when I've been here, it was not there yet.
Right. Every generation has that story, I think, and as you
Yep.
say, yes, we have, like, the plans are now in motion, and there should be a new library being built in front of Michelson, and then Michelson and De Fair buildings will get connected with extra educational and student spaces. So, yeah, no more walking in the cold. So I know, well, it was never too cold for you. You were the one who would always be in shorts even in winter. So, but
Yeah,
for
and
others,
still.
yeah, you're still the same. Wonderful. Well, let me just read some comments that have been going on Facebook. First of all, Rokas Bitotas is saying hi, Yura, and so hi, I guess, to all the LCC gang. Um, the the message from Marlene, from our president, where she says that she's so incredibly proud of you, the way you have taken full advantage of the opportunities in front of you, and your positive outlook on life. Thank you so much for sharing. Thanks, Marlene, for your note. And I do see that we have a comment and questions in our chat here from
Meanwhile, I
Daniela.
will say hi to Rokas, and I
Uh-huh.
will say thank you for Marlene. for the comment. Thank you, Marlene. Really appreciate it. Much love.
Wonderful. Well, we have a message from Daniil, who is here with us on Zoom, and he says, "Yuri, you will not believe I'm graduating in a month. Much love. Hope to see you soon." So I guess this is someone whom you know as well.
Yes, this is Daniil Malakhov, and I don't believe that he's graduating. So this is just yeah, a good friend of ours.
Wonderful.
Yeah, one of those
Wonderful.
students. Yep.
Good. So friends everywhere. So more reunions after Daniil graduates. Good luck, Daniil, with your final exams. You still have one more month and you'll be done. That's amazing. And a question from Alina. Was it easy to find a job right after graduation in your field? What was the process?
Like it was quite easy, I would say, to find it in Lithuania. Once again, if you talk about Klaipėda, it's not that hard, knowing that you're an LCC graduate. People know about this institution. They know right away you speak good English, you got some good education classes. So this helps a lot in logistics, in transport. I think this was the first and only interview I got. So I got the interview, I got accepted, and I started working a few months later. It just takes some time with the paperwork, of course, several months probably. So yeah, probably plan few months ahead in this regard, but not that complicated.
Right. And as you were saying, I mean, you were truly working all throughout your years. So you were compiling your CV lists, and the experience always helps. Thanks, Alina, for your question and for your comment. Comment from our board members, our founders, people who've been with LCC from the very beginning, from Renee and Dennis Newman. So wonderful to see you again, Yuri. We are inspired by your story and appreciate so much your determination to never give up.
Thank you so much. I was hoping that you guys are here, and thanks a lot for all the support as well, and all the discussions we had. Really appreciate it. Wish you guys good health and yeah, good luck further as well. Really nice to hear from you.
Yes, well, thank you for everyone who is with us. As we're saying, these webinars are as much a time for reunion and reflection on the good LCC days and the success stories after graduation, but it's also a way for us to be sharing the story of our alumni, their pathways after graduation, their search for the right career or the right career for them, and them sharing their wisdom and their experience with others, so that these stories can be encouraging, can be real life stories that others can listen to, find themselves, and also find encouragement that we are not alone in our paths of searching for the meaning, searching for the job, the careers, and that the common element in us is LCC. And one way or another, we are all touched by that experience. And tonight, I want to thank Yuri for your time, for your story. It's so good to reconnect, and I'm sure this was also exciting for many others who were joining us today, and for even others who will be listening to this as a recording. So good luck to you as you continue in your career path. We always look forward to seeing you on campus as you drop by whenever you're in Klaipėda. The same message goes to any alum out there. And yes, the 30th anniversary is here. Things will be changing and evolving, and new people coming through LCC. But it is always your home, your alma mater, and we always hope to see you there. And now, Yuri, yes, thank
You
you.
will.
I know I have to let you go after a long day of work. Thank you again for being with us, for sharing your story, and all the best to you.
Thank you, Aiste. It was really nice having tea, coffee with you.
Exactly. So tea for us at our end, coffee probably for those who are watching us from North America. And to everyone, then I wish a good day, a good evening, and see you in 2 weeks at another coffee with LCC alumni webinar. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.